I'm late. I'm so sorry. I'm Annalisa, psychic medium. Hello, hello. How is everybody? Hang on, I just have to fix this up. Excuse me. I was doing errands and I got caught up in lines and traffic, etc., etc. Hello, Rothka. Okay, so list. Got Regine, Devry, and Rothka. And Regine has 2 questions. Hi, Julia. How is everybody? I saw all of your support on my TikToks. Thank you so much, Julia. Did everybody have, I guess neither of you celebrated Thanksgiving, I'm assuming, because you're not in the United States. Since Rothka, since you're here, if you want to ask your question, go ahead and go. I don't know who else is here or what's the plan. I'm going to put a little stuff on my lips if y'all don't mind, because they're dry. There we go. Isn't that exciting? I have like a red line around my mouth. You need to think. No problem. Okay, think away. Hi, Devry. Go ahead and ask your question. So let's see. I had a nice, uneventful Thanksgiving. It was just my family and I, my girls and my husband and I, and our bunny. Uneventful, which is good. I made way too much food because my girls all have sensory texture issues and they all like different things. So I made potatoes. I made several different types of potatoes and because I like certain things. Okay. Applied for a second administrative position recently. And from the conversations I've had, they seem promising. So I want to know if I will get one of them or not. You're going to be offered both of them. Yeah, I get both. I know that I know that you have been wanting to do like work from home type stuff. But so I'm trying to tell like what's the difference and which one's a better, like it feels like one is the slightly less pay but better benefits than the other. You know what? I don't know which one is better because they feel very comparable. One feels like it's slightly less pay but better benefits. And like maybe better health insurance or better options for like long term. So it might be like that's the best way to go. It's sort of like they're not giving you like definitely this one or that, definitely that one, but it's to look at it not for just the surface level of like, oh, well, this one pays better than this one. So it's like the feeling of like the one that's 17 has more room for growth than the one that's 21. But I don't know if that makes sense. So I guess what I'm sort of getting is like for you to decide, it feels like look at it more like my hair. I feel like oh, sorry, I'm just trying to figure my hair out. I'm always doing that. It feels like look at the bigger picture, not just like the dollar per hour. Like look at that potential for growth and potential for long term. I'm good, Crystal. How are you doing? Let's see on my. Sounds good. Uh, I guess it's timelines. I don't know. So I always say when I do a reading, it's sort of like where your energy's at now, right? Like nothing is, it's very rare that I feel like things are super set in stone. But I've done readings where literally I've gotten stuff 8 to 10 years in advance. So, I don't know. I think, Devery, I think you can keep both. Yeah, the freight processor one as well. I don't know. Ask everybody else here if they think I'm good with jobs and relationships. Let let them speak for because they're the ones who are here and receiving. Um, Everybody else, you can let her give her a boost of confidence if you want. You guys come back. uh, which kind of like the general free one, like we did last time? I'll do those again. Like that are sort of like for everybody, not just for you. Okay, that works, Crystal. So I always like I think I'm good at what I do, right? But do I think I'm 100%? No. No, nobody's 100%. Have I been off? So I always say like I might interpret it wrong, but I know I'm getting what I'm getting. So fabulous and so accurate at everything. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Julia. But I am realistic. Like I'm human and to sit there and go like, "Oh, I always get it all right." Well, no, we don't. We're human. But I always feel like if I'm not touting it the way like other people do, then like maybe somebody because I am realistic, like I'm human, uh, then maybe it downgrades your vote of confidence. So I say ask others and see what they think and what they have to say. So I think both positions will work out. I think they're going to offer you both. I feel like you'll stay. Hi, Regine. I feel like you'll stay with the other job and have this one on top of it. I feel like it'll actually balance just fine. Um, I actually feel like you'll probably take the 17 hour and the 17 one because I feel like the benefits are better. Like the medical stuff is better. And it feels like, I don't know why. That's just what I feel. $4 more an hour for 40 weeks, 160 more a week. But I feel like the benefits outweigh like what you would pay. You've wasted money on psychics. I believe in them, and it hurt me in the end because that's. Listen, I have too. So before I knew I could do this, I was like, I know when I say thank you for trusting me I tell people that, especially after I do private readings, it's not because I'm like, oh, I don't. It's because I know that when people come to me, they are in a vulnerable state. I went to a reader when I was in a really vulnerable state. This was before I knew I could do readings. I would have dreams that would come true and have experiences, but I never knew that it was like a two-way street. And I went to a reader. She had a shingle out in Houston. That means like the signs that say psychic. And she was a charlatan. She was somebody who was just trying to take advantage of me and suck money from me. And so like I get that. And like when I say suck money from me, she was like, can you go out and get a whole bunch of more cash and come pay me to do like to remove a curse kind of charlatan. So, and I think it's good to be skeptical and have, to go. So like, even if I give you the reading, it's okay to walk away and go, okay, I'm going to keep this in mind and not place all your eggs in one basket because, I think I should have to prove myself as a reader. You don't have to be attached to me. That's why when like my private readings are priced a little bit higher, and I know that because I mean not as high as they could be for sure given my experience. Like I definitely undercharge for believe it or not for what I do and for my experience, but I don't want you to be attached to me. I want you to be empowered. I want you to learn to trust your own intuition. I want you to know that like you are capable of moving through life without being worried and like I need to get that reassurance all the time. Starry sky. Happy Thanksgiving. I was gonna say happy Valentine's Day. It's good to see you. Not that I'm not as excited to see everybody else, but I always get excited when one of you comes back and you've been gone for a little bit. Okay, let's go. Let's see. So Debbie, okay, so Regine, you're here. Your question, you have two questions, but one of them you typed. And is it okay if I tell people what it was since you typed it in a note? I don't know if you want me to be. Okay. So she asked about her other sibling who's married, and the sibling had the couple had a very large blowout at Thanksgiving, and then they were like throwing around divorce. So, and you asked would they get divorced too? I do feel like eventually they will. I don't feel like it's anytime soon. I do feel like I'm gonna say this. I do feel there's potential for them to heal long term. Your sister has a bit of a stubborn streak. Um, I know you love your sister. I'm trying to be diplomatic. So, she has a bit of a stubborn streak, and I do feel like she tends to be very emotionally responsive and explosive. Um, I do see her husband being a bit more I do feel like a lot of like, okay, dear, whatever you want, dear, like having been very submissive, but I also feel like he's a bit passive aggressive. So he does things kind of like on the DL, like when he's like trying to, get back at her, kind of petty little things. Um, she's been submissive because I feel like he's actually the one who's like, okay, dear, like, it just feels different. I feel like she's kind of a little bit more, but I feel like and um so I do feel like he tends to play the victim a little bit. So this may be the way he portrays himself to others. So I do feel like they could potentially heal things, but it would take like it feels like it's a great up like weight to be lifted. Um 2 years seems significant for me. I don't know if that's like when they finally like sort of, you know, or if like that's where they make the change. But when I initially read it, it was like, yeah, they will. So this argument is not the end though. Um, it certainly is upsetting, right? So I will say that when a couple is willing to fight like that in front of others, it's pretty bad at home. Um, so it's like as much as like he has changes to do, it's like she really does too. And it's communication style. It's learning to like. There's nothing wrong with emotions, but she reacts from those emotions instead of really like processing them a little bit. Oh, to book a private reading, you can actually just you can schedule it on my website. So I haven't updated for Monday. I know I have some doctor's appointments for my kids on Monday, so that might be a little bit different, but, um, you can go on and purchase it there and schedule there. You don't have to call me. As of now, as of today's date, which is November 26th, 2023, I like to usually put them online because I feel like then someone's gonna be like, "But you said it was this much." So it's on my website. Half hour is 125 and an hour is 200. But you can also just ask a question here. It's $12 a question. 30% goes to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Thank you, Regine. Um, so yeah, it feels like it's like, it's not like this one isn't a set in stone where it's like, for sure they are. I'm leaning more towards it, but it's like, there is potential. Um, but like they both have work to do. It's like, she just really needs to focus on herself and doing the work for herself, because we can't change other people, right? We can really only just change ourselves, change our own belief systems, and then the world sort of shifts around you when that happens. Okay, so what's your second question? Oh, thank you, Starry Sky. I just saw your comment. I appreciate that. General reading for the second? Sure. So I feel like your solar plexus, this energetic space, is just a little bit off. It doesn't feel like, it feels wonky or wobbly to me. Lots of anxiety there. So solar plexus is how you relate to the world, how the world relates to you, and your self-esteem. And it's not like I feel like you have self-esteem issues, but I do feel like you have a sense of security issues. And part of your worrying about everybody else and like worrying about where they're at and if they're okay is, um, it's a way for you to maintain control and a sense of feeling like safe and secure. And also, I know that seeing your sisters have such issues with marriage sort of feels like it dashes your hopes and about the illusions you have of being in a relationship yourself. But remember that they are their own people on their own journey and going through their own experiences, and they have their own belief systems. And even when we grow up in a family system, we all sort of take on different belief systems within that because we experience those relationships differently. Like your parents were different parents to you as they were to them, right? You had different experiences with them. I know that. I can even see within my relationships with my own children, I am slightly different with each one of them. And it's also based on their own personality. So my one daughter is very open to conversation and talking about her feelings and like listening and learning. And my other daughter is not as open. She's, and it's taken a lot longer for her to learn to, not have to internalize so much stuff. That's, it's just, she just needs a little bit more. Wait, it's amazing you saying that. I cannot imagine in their relationship. I could never. Right. So it just feels like to remember that you're not, because you're willing to like look at yourself and your own belief systems and sort of work on that aspect of it, you're not going to attract the same sort of relationship because you don't have the same sort of lessons. Um, they're reminding you that in your relationship, as when you develop one, when you meet someone, as you're developing that relationship, there's a sense of slight security issues that might come up, not financial, but just like feeling safe and secure emotionally, that to remind yourself that you are safe, like to go back into those mantras and back into that self-concept work. Because I do feel like that's a theme that runs through your family, is that sense of like an emotional insecurity. And the sense that I get is it feels like it's from mom, is like that I don't want to be like when you say threats, right? She would threaten you. I don't feel like it's like, I'm gonna be, but it was like she would kind of hold that emotional security over your head a little bit. Like if you didn't just do just right, right? It was the sense of like, if I expressed an emotion or a feeling that was counter to what she had, it would be sort of like Jesus wouldn't like this, that kind of a thing, you know? And it's like that's where that comes from, but you can heal that. I feel like she used religion to kind of, you know, um, guide you, but not always in a great way. They just really want to like stress, don't be disheartened or disillusioned. It's hard to see a lot of that around you and then think, oh, it's never possible for me to be happy. Like, just remember happiness really is within. It's like 1,000% within. And if you constantly try and seek outside of yourself to find that, you'll have it for a little bit, but it won't stay. So it's really about, and it's not about like, oh, I'm content, so I don't ever want to strive for more, but it is about being secure in who you are. And that comes with conversation to yourself, compassion for yourself, really being aware of how you speak to yourself. Okay. And I'm glad that they gave me something that you needed. I always trust they do. Because who wants a reading you don't need? Oh, sorry, Sky, I got your payment. Well, I mean, but really. Okay, so now I've got either Rafka, do you have your question yet? Y'all, I'm so excited because I know that we're supposed to like, boycott stores and all that stuff for shopping because it's a way to not give back to corporations who are basically like greedy and all of that stuff, which they are. But I did buy some reading glass. I bought some stuff for my kids because I'm like, honestly, holidays, like, and I'm gonna get the sales. But I also did buy some nicer reading glasses, so I'm excited to get them. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they look okay. I did the like virtual try on things. We'll see. But then they don't sound like, oh, I don't even have the ones down here anymore that like the creaky ones. So if you've been here for a couple weeks, you heard my reading glasses just because like I feel like I'm squinty a little bit. That's 45. It happens. Okay, general reading, not feeling very creative tonight. Well, fine. Okay. So on the very first thing I felt was celebratory feeling of just like very excited, and I heard like little clapping. And it feels really around having a breakthrough this past week. Um, and it sounds like, have you ever cracked like hard sugar when they do like a little and not like a like it has that like sound of like cracking open and releasing. Um, it just feels like really releasing some old belief systems. Did you do like a, I don't know, was it a full moon or a new moon like release? it just feels like very intentional and very like I actually released it this time. I actually got rid of it. I just feel like I can move. Sorry, I'm hearing a song in my head. If you're wondering why am I rocking back and forth. um, it's just it literally feels like the relief of being like, yeah, I can stand in who I am. I don't have to be afraid anymore. I don't have to be afraid of the judgment. I don't have to be afraid that someone's going to hurt me or attack me. It just feels like I'm really like I'm freeing myself of being held by fear. Oops. And I just feel way more empowered now. Like I know, so a lot of times when we move through things, we move in a place of like a little bit of, again, fear, um, being timid, worried about what step I take because what if everything goes wrong? It just feels like, no, I have the information I have. I have the knowledge and the wisdom. I'm just going to take this by the reins and go. I'm not going to just like hope that I do it right. I'm moving forward. It's again for you too, a sense of empowerment, a sense of like a lot of the stuff that you're undertaking right now with your podcast and everything else, it feels like I have a sense of obligation. I have it's this sense that's really driving you and it's actually helping free you from a lot of the old stuff. I also feel like you've been writing a lot and I do feel like I don't know if you've thought about this, but I feel like a published book coming forward for you. And I don't know what that entails. But I do feel like you are going to be publishing something, and it would be nonfiction. Um, but it feels like a much needed voice in the world. I just felt your stomach tighten up. It got real tight there, like, no. Um, Dad's popping up here a little bit, and your stepmom, but I don't, it's more so him. So I don't know if he's got some health issues going on. Just be aware of that. I don't think it's anything severe or too drastic. But I just feel like there's something kind of popping up for him. I lean towards it being a digestive thing, but it's not quite stomach like GERD or anything. There's something, uh, maybe it's like a gallstone or some kind of like maybe it's a little bit of pancreatitis. It's just like there's something in the digestive system that's not. And your brother that passed, is this an anniversary of something or a birthday? Because he's kind of popping in and I feel like you felt him around you a lot recently because I feel like he's playing jokes on you or playing tricks on you. I don't know if like he's moving something because I feel like there's like a little, it's not quite a ball, it's almost like squished, like kind of an oblong shape. And it's either like it might be one of your stones. Um, but it's funny because I feel like it's smooth, like I fit my fingers on it perfectly, like there's something very soothing about it. It's maybe the color of like that dang stone. It's not obsidian because obsidian's black, and it has like more of it's black, but it has like a sheen to it. I don't know either way to say it. You're seeing him nope, your brother that passed. Okay. I'm working on a series of personal autobiographical essays, which will turn into a book. Hi, McKeegan. Seeing dad in a week. Okay. Um, there's some reason he's around specifically this week that feels important. So think about that. He just showed me his mouth like a, you know, of those blobfish. You know what those look like? The blobfish. Like it's, you know, like their mouth is kind of like, He showed his mouth like a blobfish mouth. I don't know what that means. I'm leaving that with you. All right. I'm leaving you with that. You'll send me a photo of a blobfish? You mind if I submit another question? Yeah, that's fine. Itchy, itchy. Okay. Let's see. Starry Sky, if you want to ask your question, I think you're up next. And then, oh, Deborah, you got another question. Okay. So I made a pumpkin cheesecake with a ginger snap crust, which was pretty good. We still have tons of it because I made a full-size cheesecake for like 3 people that will eat it. I had 1 slice. I haven't eaten any since because I really am trying to watch blood sugar stuff. And the older I get, the less I like roasted turkey. So I think whatever, this may be the last turkey year we do. We just do a turkey breast because it's really only my husband and I that'll eat the turkey. And we made chicken for the girls and mashed potatoes and roasted sweet potatoes and green beans. And I'm just rambling. Cornbread stuffing. So I like cornbread stuffing over regular stuffing. I don't know. Like if I'm going to make it, I want it to be cornbread. And then I bought these croissants from Trader Joe's that are in the frozen section. You just like throw them in and bake them, and they're so freaking good. I will never do any kind of roll again. Okay. Is there a special way to know when my Marjorie is communicating with me? She died. Oh, my goodness. Sorry, Sky. You have had like it's nonstop. Would you be willing to message me or like either text me or message me a picture of Marjorie? Your horse is gonna cry when it'll hear you. Do you know okay, so like when I was a kid, I was super connected to animals and then I sort of lost it for a while. I don't know why, but like I'm having like a re-kid thing where I'm just like absolutely in love with animals and like their personalities. And like I love horses and cows' personalities. It's really like I love all of them. I like beluga whales are fabulous. Anyway, I love all animals. Anyway, so but like the horses that I get to see on TikTok crack me up. And they have such strong personalities. Like they remind me kind of bunnies. And I think it's because they're prey animals, just like bunnies are. But they do they get like bunnies get attitudes, and I would just watch the horses, and you can feel their energy, and they kind of get little attitudes. And maybe won't cry, but maybe just won't go very far. There was a horse I thought was hilarious. Can you send me a picture of Marjorie? Because I want to connect with her and see what she says. So do you mind Starry Sky? Is that okay? Is that like a weird request? If you don't want to do that or you can't, that's fine. This horse was like it was in rehab and it was like kind of coming back, and the woman took him out for a ride, and it was like the first ride in a long time, and he literally like he came back short and like came back to where she would get on, like there was like some little, I don't know what you call it, um, like a stump or whatever it was, and like the horse came back and was like, "Okay, get off." Like it was very cute. You just sent it. Hope it went through. Okay. Did you send an email or text it? I'm guessing email. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Oh, wait, that's oh, I hate when it does it that way. That's so annoying. Okay, got it. Doop. Oh my goodness. You're like the spitting image of your mother. Oh my gosh. Okay. Whew. She had some respiratory issues. I feel like and kidney stuff too, because I just feel like right back here at the base of my kidneys and the base of my lungs and like the top, like your kidneys kind of meet there. Mm. She has a very funny personality. So I was like, "Hi there." She was like, "Hi yo." I don't know what that was, but it was like this funny hello. She feels really good. um, did they keep her pretty medicated towards the end? Because I feel like almost like she enjoyed being high a little bit. I don't know if she partook in the lettuce, the cabbage, but she seems to enjoy it. Um, she just said to me, "I'm more like her than she knows." Okay, so how do you let her know about you? Yeah, I feel like a lot of respiratory stuff. She's still making me feel that. Whew. Um, please stop. So I don't know if you had like a joke with her about how she would let you know, because I feel like a tap on my head and then she's like, "Oh, I thunk her like that." Like she's like actually making it feel like there was a conversation about like she wouldn't she'd wallop, like I don't know what is this called, flick you. Um, so this is gonna sound weird because I don't usually say like this is how she lets you know, but I feel like you'll feel like a random weird like sharp pain or like a little zap. And that's actually her, which is weird because I'm normally like, that's not a great sign because you don't want to think that there's something physically wrong with you, or ignore something physically wrong with you. But I do feel like you get like a little thump, and especially like here on your head, thump. Her right eye. You okay? You'll look out for the thumb. It just and it feels like here too, like here, and then like maybe a little boop. Did you have a conversation about that? Like, I just feel like she would joke around about like, "Oh, I'll just, there's no way you could miss it." Um, I do see a cardinal being but I always like, like I'm always like, that's like a such a general one. So I do feel like there's a connection with a cardinal and her, but I also feel like she's got a really good sense of humor and she was like, she's gonna thump you. Like you won't miss it. She says she's in the car with you a lot. I think she's likes to be the backseat driver. She loved cardinals. Okay. she's like, I want to make sure she's paying attention. She has a very like, there's a very like razzing type behavior between the two of you. You have a very nice relationship. It's just a feeling of like always being really proud of you, always really just absolutely loved and adored you. She goes, I could be crabby, but that was just my blood sugar. Like she's like, and she's also wanting to let you know that you did really well by her. Like she's just, it's a feeling of like like towards the end, everything was really, really comfortable, and she was really taken care of. And I don't know why she's talking about pizza, but she's talking about pizza and Diet Coke or something like that. I feel like it's Diet Coke. What was the no to? Because I just see that in the. She loved pizza. Have you guys ever seen that movie, Defending Your Life with Albert Brooks and oh, I forget her name, the actress. She's very well known, and of course I'm like, "Mer." But Albert Brooks, like where it's like he's like died, and he's like going, he's like it's defending his life, and like he goes to the restaurants. It's like 9 pies. You have 9 days of trials. Here's 9 pies. I just think like she can have all the pizza she wants. I love that movie so much. I swear I think that that's like the way it is when we go over there. I don't know if there's buses and stuff, but I definitely think we do life reviews. Definitely. And I like eating all you want. Fabulous. Anyway, that's one of my favorite movies. And Albert Brooks and I share the same birthday. We're birthday twins. So I just saw a thing that gosh, why can't I think of her name? It's anybody's name, but like there's a woman in there who was also in Steel Magnolias, and she does that, but she just is briefly in the movie, and she does the like she's in the past life pavilion, and she's like, these are your past lives. You're very welcome, Starry Sky. And but I learned that she was like not a very great mom, and that's like always disappointing, but you have to separate them from their jobs because they're just people at the end of the day, but she was like not a great mom. Boo-hoo. Okay. Oh, question. Okay, I've got your question too. I'll look at that text. So then now I've lost track. So Devery purchased another one. Yeah, let me go back to my PayPal. I was getting a whole bunch of texts from I'm class parent, so from other class parents getting ready for the holidays. So Devery, you have another one, and then Rothka, you have another one. So Devery, what's your other question? And Crystal, are you still here? Did you want to do a question today? Were you going to do one, or are you going to do? You're going to wait, and that's okay too. No pressure. Hi, Cindy. How are you doing? I hope you're well. I hope you had a good weekend. Okay. Shirley MacLaine. Yes, that's her. Yeah, apparently she wasn't a very good mom. Which is like, I also think like, like times were so different then, but apparently like she really didn't want to be a mom, it seems like. Apparently her daughter wrote a book, and I don't know. I just saw some stuff. I don't know enough about it. Didn't read a book, but I was just like, oh, that's disappointing. Go ahead, you can pay for a question. I only have right now Rothka and Devry. So Rothka or Devry, do you know what your question is? Are you here? If not, I'll do Rothka's because I have her somewhere. Um, somewhere over the rainbow. Did you send that in WhatsApp? There you are. Okay. Oh, that picture makes sense. 1,000%. Blobfish. Okay. My dad is doing their estate planning because of the dynamics and how she is with me. He's treating my inheritance separately. Plan is to transfer it to me in his lifetime. My question is whether there's anything I should raise or be aware of with this, or is it going to be okay? I'm worried I'm going to get screwed because she preferred. I didn't get anything. I actually feel like it should be done in a trust because if it's done in a, are you there, Rothka? If it's done in a trust, she can't contest it. So if he sets it up as a trust, she cannot contest any of it, and it's just done. And he's being firm about it. Like I do feel like she is like really wanting to be stingy with it, and he's being very firm about it. Like he's made the decision. He will not. He's like very like as much in so many things with him. He's like, tries to scoot around her feelings. Like he's very firm on this one. So I don't know if he's doing it as a trust, but it feels like as a trust would be best, only because, not because it's about divvying you up, because then she can't. And I know laws are different in other countries, but it feels like she can't contest it if it's done a specific way, and that's how he'll do it. And I do feel like he is meeting with attorneys about it and like what's the best way, because I do feel like as much as he does not like he's always trying to like keep things calm and mind the peace and stuff like that. I feel like he's really firm about like this. He understands the dynamics. He's not dumb. He's just always trying to make it as easy on him as possible. And he figures that he doesn't have to worry about that once he's dead. Okay, Cindy, I'll check. She can't contest it if he does it a certain way. It does. So technically, if it's I'm not an attorney and I don't know, but from what I understand is if it's in a trust, it's in a trust and she can't contest it. I feel like I'll have an attorney do it instead of making somebody power of attorney because I don't feel like he trusts her. But he could do it as a separate trust for sure. And then he doesn't have to wait until he's passed that she can't contest it. But I do feel like he should ask an attorney for sure to make sure of that. But I don't feel like, I had to be honest, he is not oblivious to who she is. Most of the decisions he makes is more out of like self-preservation. But he doesn't want to leave you up the creek. As much as he may have over like a lifetime maybe made you feel like he was disappointed or not really in agreement with decisions you've made, he's very proud of you. And he really does admire you. And he feels like in many ways, in many aspects, brain wise, like you are more in alignment with each other than you realize. Like the way your brains work. Putting on some more of this because technically, I have to tell you this. They say intelligence comes from your mother, but I don't think it's necessarily That it's just the way your brain makes connections. It's similar to his. I think your mom was really intelligent. She was just, you know, really sad. Okay, Devry, I'm coming back to you, my dear. Let's see, you wrote, I just wanted to ask if there's 2 administrative jobs that come up for me. Can I do those instead of the freight processor and one of the administrative jobs? Just more about the money right now. I don't feel like you'll do 2 because I feel like okay, here, let me put it this way. You could do that. I don't feel like it's what you'll do. And I feel like it's more because there's too much of an overlap of time where they kind of overlap each other, where whereas the other one, it feels like they're very separate. Sorry, guys. I don't know why that was like all of a sudden notifying and not now. You're very welcome, Rothka. I feel like that's what you'll end up doing. I can't tell you what to do. I think you'll know in the moment exactly, like you'll know exactly that what's right and like when it's all settled out, what'll work and what won't work. Okay. All right, Cindy, your question. And then at the end, if no one else is wants any, if you guys want to do like we did last week, where you just kind of asked more general, like world event kind of questions, you guys can do that. Sorry, Sky, you weren't here for that last week. You could do it again this week if you're still here. Eli just got denied for additional nursing coverage. Um, I feel like you need like they need to do a review, like a peer-to-peer review. Is the feeling I get. It's like doing a peer-to-peer review. It'll get approved. It is a total uphill battle. I mean, I have to tell you this, like insurance fucking sucks. It's a scam. It feels like there needs to be a peer-to-peer review with either his caseworker or his doctor. I don't know exactly how that works itself out, but I feel like we need a peer-to-peer review. And then it gets okayed. So like, I also feel like he qualifies for some other assistance as well. It's not just Medicaid that's messy. It's like all of them are messy. They're all, anytime you have something for profit, people want you to skimp and not help others out. Like the fact that so much of our stuff, I mean, I just, when you're like raised to believe like corporate greed, I don't know. I'm just so like annoyed with everything right now. So it just feels like there needs to be a peer-to-peer review to say like, yes, he in fact does require this sort of long-term care, nursing care. Because it's so I don't know if it's a doctor or if it's the it might even be the doctor and the caseworker, but it feels like there needs to be a peer-to-peer review. So it's like go that route where you connect with his doctors and connect with the caseworker and say like, look, I can't just leave him at a daycare. I can't just leave him at a babysitter. Like he needs more, that kind of thing. But that's the way it has to go. I almost feel like also somebody tick marked the wrong box or like there's a little bit of clerical error. So, but it has to be followed up that way. It can't just be like, so it's when I say uphill battle, it's really about you lighting the fire under everybody else's tushies to get them into motion. I'm telling you the things I saw when I was a nurse. It's just like the way our system is set up is just stupid. Oh, the documentation's like half-ass, to be honest. Um, so that's why you have to do that. That's why you have to do the peer-to-peer review and have the doctor connect with it, because you have no control over somebody's documentation. And then moving forward, it is document everything and you have that conversation with them, because your documentation is what gets us the care that he needs, and having those conversations, which are not easy. It's not fun. And acknowledge documenting sucks. It's not fun. The paperwork is like, it's a lot and there's a lot of redundancy in it. However, this is what gets him the care that he needs. So I need you to document so that they realize he needs nursing care, because he needs nursing care. I can't take him to, I can't just call up a babysitter or a daycare or whatever. No, I know. I do feel like I do feel like, by the way, I feel like he'll be in school, he'll be mainstreamed at a point, not like, but in public school. And I do feel like at that point it's a little easier, because he'll have an aide. I mean, he could even get away with an aide, but does need a professional person. Again, it just feels like following up and saying, like, I need this, they're denying me this, X, Y, and Z. I need somebody to follow up, maybe do a peer-to-peer review. I think that has to come through the doctor in order to get that. So like get on their tushy and say, like, I'm running into issues. I can't just send them to anybody. I need your assistance. And I think it's going to require a peer-to-peer review. I feel like his pediatrician would be the first place to start. Yes. You could also, he's going to be the main person, but you could also, if necessary, sorry, involve GI and also neuro. But I think the pediatrician would be able to get it done. Yeah. Just say, this is what's going on. They've denied the nursing care. However, I can't just leave him with anybody. Can you request a peer-to-peer review? And then I think you'll get it. And I know that sounds like a really long time, but something about February seems, so it might be a bit of a drag out. I do feel like it's going to be tiring for the next. But they each, listen, they're going to each go, well, let them pay for it. Like they're going to, do whatever they can to not, either one of them is going to do what they can to not have to pay for things. Because, yay. I really, our medical system is just like, becoming a nurse. Like I was so disillusioned once I had been working in nursing for long enough and seeing just absurdity about making money off of people's illness. And like I had a baby. I think this is like 20 years old now, so I feel like I'm like past where I can share this. And I'm not totally violating HIPAA because I'm not sharing any names or anything. But like, there was a baby who had born anencephaly, which means without a brain, and they had like she had a brain stem and could regulate, like her temperature regulation was garbage. Mom learned all of the care. Like she was so good with her baby. And because I mean, and they were they were poor and they were undocumented, and they had a car that was worth $2,000, which is like clearly not a fancy car. And they told them that if they wanted to be able to have nursing care in home, they either had to sell their car or get divorced. Like, what? What? And yet we have trillions of dollars that would just go missing for the FBI, or we're supporting other countries, and they're just don't even get me started on like what I think about our country right now, because I'm not liking it. It's just insane to me. Like, it's insane to me. Like, yeah, but the fact that we even have to do that is insane to me, that we just have so much money and they're constantly like, oh, we're just going to take away from all the social programs, and yet we are funding wars. Like, it is insane to me. Like, mind blowing. Like, if you could just, like, that's how I feel all the time. Okay, get me off that topic. Okay, so there, yeah. But we can't pay for school. We can't make sure all kids are fed and have meals. God forbid, like there's not a massive federal funds for the school systems. God forbid that we don't make sure our elderly are taken care of. Like, just that the homeless people are not taken care of. Like, we have a plethora of money, and it is just insane. Hi, KK. Just rambling here. Okay, so if y'all want to do like we did last week, if you want to ask general questions, not personal questions, like kind of like what's going on with the world, I will sit and answer a few of those, because we got through. I've only been on an hour, so we got through all the paid questions. No, Trump is not going to be in office in 2024. Not going to be a Republican. So years ago, this is what's weird. Is like I saw it was like this gap. Like in 2028, I saw that there would be 2 women, but I couldn't figure out what happened with 2024. So I don't know. Not DeSantis. um, um, Biden. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. Biden may get elected, but I don't know that he'll actually be president. So I don't know if health issues come up, but I don't know. It's interesting. I love you with your celebrity questions. Does Tia Mowry getting a divorce from her ex Corey Hardrict, since she is finding it hard to find a good man? Oh, does she regret? No, she doesn't regret getting divorced. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. There was a lot of mind game stuff that happened in her marriage that she didn't talk about with really anybody. So no. Do I get any weather predictions for the UK? A lot of farmers think we will get a severe winter. We had a beast from the east snowstorm in 2018 and are rare. So I feel like I keep seeing a lot of rain and ice, a lot of ice. So definitely colder. There may be one big snowstorm, but I just feel like a very icy winter. So, oh yeah, I actually think it was more than just 2 royals that questioned his skin color. I mean, They have a massive history of racism. Hi, Autumn. Does Chris Evans and his new wife have a good marriage? They had 2 weddings and no pictures, so I'm curious. Um, oh, you love these. Okay. So I think they do. I think they have a lot more in common than she's got some sketchy stuff I know that I saw on something that she's got some interesting beliefs. Um, I think they have more in common than people would like to believe. He's got a really minus the accidental D pic that he sent out. Um, like he tweeted out or something like that or Instagrammed out. He's got a fairly like, like American, all American boy thing, but I'm not saying he's a terrible person, but I think he's more in alignment with her than people realize. I don't know about good or bad, whatever. Everybody's got their issues in their marriage. I think they intentionally didn't release any wedding photos. They really do want to keep a lot of it really private. That's all. I do feel like the East Coast is going to get a lot of snow. I made sure that I got even snow pants and snow boots for my one daughter because more so I'm keeping stuff in the car. Um, so, okay, wait, hang on. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry get a divorce. Um, no, I think they're really going through a rough patch right now, though, because they're. Um, so I'm going to say no, not anytime soon. So I don't see it in the foreseeable future. It doesn't mean they'll never get one, but I just feel like they're really in a hard patch right now, just because of um, finding their footing. Uh, Not just in marriage, but just like where they fit, how they fit. Um, and repercussions and really, really like getting used to, especially on Harry's part, I feel like the weight and the changes of the decisions he's made. Bruce Willis's health will not get better. Okay, so this is a weird question. My spiritual channelers have talked about alien visits about 2026 and 2027. I know it's not odd. So I do feel like we're gonna have. So okay, I kind of touched on this a little bit last week, but so I've been to DC a couple of times. It's been years now, but uh, it's probably been 10 years now. But like driving when you drive through into DC, there's several buildings. Just like I don't know the area well enough, so it's like. But I remember driving by several buildings and feeling like a very like we're more in cahoots with that energy than people realize. Working very closely with that energy. Um, I keep getting testing the waters. So I don't think that we'll see them in the way that they've been described. Um, I do feel like one spokesperson, like from each different type thing, but um, I also get this feeling of people being mesmerized in some way or um, hypnotized in some way to where it's like it isn't that they change forms, it's they change our perception of how we see them and how they're able to be viewed. But I do feel like I don't know if it's I know that it's going to start inkling out more. We won't be ready for it to be like just walking around with them, but I do feel like they're going to be shown more and more. Okay. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Uh-huh. So I don't like whenever I see them, like they really energetically match. Of course I keep seeing things about like, oh, their PR, but they really energetically match. And the only thing I got on them was that like they really, really match. They're a good fit. And that he has to worry about CTE as he gets a little bit older, which is what is it? Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. There's something like that. What the dementia that they end up with. I don't feel like she's had up until now. I don't feel like she's had a partner that really matches her energy and um, thrives the way, like thrives on seeing her do so well, and like not trying to get something from her for it. Though he benefits from it. Like, let's be honest, that's not like he recognizes that. Um, but he matches her energy in a better way than really anybody else has. Um, if they have kids together, there is definitely going to be an adjustment. But it won't stop her from, growing and continue to do what she does. And I also feel like as much as I've heard him say something about like they have like the same kind of family values, he will not ever be like, you should stay home and take care of the kids. Like he definitely, he wouldn't be like that anyway. Oh, when will on what's her name? Grande. I don't feel like it's not. Is it Adriana? That doesn't sound right. She won't. She might stay with this guy for a couple of years, but truthfully, she's going to be one of those people that sort of just go from relation to relationship. And the truth is she doesn't. She's not tied down by needing financial assistance. So like that's not something that keeps her there, and she's sort of yeah, we do have aliens already living among us. The truth is we probably have their DNA, but I just feel like there'll be more. It'll be less. It'll be more obvious, and I feel like I keep seeing like a couple of like spokespeople. What it's male energy is what I feel. Was there another session where I talked about Gaza Palestine situation and where that was going? It's consuming music. Okay, so I said that I don't feel like it's going to go to World War III. I do feel like we're going to end up knowing we're on the wrong side of history. It's starting to turn where like the manipulation that the IDF is doing is getting called out by mainstream media now. I actually feel like Netanyahu will be arrested. And also some of his top like military people. I don't feel like it's a coup. I just feel like that they will be held accountable. But the damage is already done. I feel like what so we can't say like, oh, it's just Biden because it's not. It's both left and right. I feel like they're really kind of hoping that like it'll quietly go away and we won't have to really deal with it, but it's going to get called to task. We won't be going to World War III again. The Arab world is like, oh, they're finally like the thing that they like about TikTok and things like that is like the truth is starting to come out about what's really going on and what's really happening. They can't feed us with propaganda anymore. I don't know if I said this. I think I'm not going to say who I think is behind it, but I'm who funded certain things, and because I feel like that could get me in a lot of trouble. But And it sounds very conspiracy theorist. But once you start looking at some of the alphabet agencies and all the things that they've done for propaganda and things like that, it starts to become a little bit more like undeniable. Um, that it's, yeah. Why do I feel leery about saying things? Not because it's a lot to put yourself out there. And I know that's like sounds weird, but to like start like digging in the way I am with my feelings, it's like I've known from the beginning who funded it. And that's all intuition. Um, but just think alphabet agencies and start, digging where some of the ones, like some of the things that they've done, and start looking at propaganda and things that they've admitted to that sound just like crazy conspiracy theories they have admitted to and divulged over the years. So yeah. I think that they were hoping to make Israel's hoping to make a clean sweep on this, and it became a lot more difficult than they thought. And I also feel like our government is feeling like wishing that, or like hoping that, oh, it'll quiet down now that we have this ceasefire, and that like it'll just go away. But things have not been able to just, will no longer just be able to be swept under the rug. So no, I don't think it's going to World War III, but I don't think it's over yet. And I don't have a timeline. I just don't think it's over yet. There will be accountability, not on our part, but Netanyahu and some of his military people will be held accountable. You're welcome. And anybody who is like, oh, well, Trump said that he would get whatever, like that man, like we need to like where he said, like, he said something about that we destabilized the Middle East, which we did, but just because he admitted one thing doesn't mean that he wouldn't have a problem fucking over some other people. Like apparently he was okay with Syria and all that other stuff. So like, let's just keep in mind who people are. Globally, not yet, Autumn. It'll still be kind of chaotic. I feel like 2026 is when we start to make more of a turn. I know that's like 2 full more years, but I mean where we'll see more of a noticeable difference. By then, I would say my sense is like end of third quarter next year will feel better. Do I see sea levels overtake most of the world to the point we would have to live underwater in the future? No. I do think there's going to be a lot, listen, weather-wise and everything else, there's going to be a lot more catastrophes, and there's going to be another pandemic, not anytime soon. There's going to be other people like health issues and things that decrease populations. But no, we're not going to have to live underwater. Forgot to ask, is illness like our last 2019 thing being ongoing? There will be more pandemics. And they're not all zoonotic. In fact, I don't know that any of them are. Anyway, Pete, 2 new accusers. Will they get justice? I think he's just going to keep paying people off, to be honest with you. I don't think anybody's going to get like, I don't know that he'll see his day in court. His downfall will be more of not being able to crawl back up because of his reputation. So many people are coming out so many people have, but people are listening now and people are holding people accountable now. So it's not going to be like him, like the Harvey Weinstein where he goes to jail and all that stuff and is in court. I just feel like he'll pay people off, but reputation wise, he can't recover. I do believe that they're lab created. And I have always believed they're lab created. And I said that I think like pretty early on, that I felt like they were just visions I had leading up to it, where it was before it kind of came out. I kept having a couple of visions months before of somebody holding a vial on a plane, and like sweating and like not doing well. And just the fact that it attacks the way it attacks, I don't feel like I feel like it was I don't know that it was intentional, but it's man-made for sure. Was my feeling. Do I see any major events happening in Canada next year, weather-wise or economically? The level of violence has increased lately, and the weather patterns have been quite weird. I just see lots of snow and very cold for the winter. So this is interesting because I feel like the violence is not as bad. It's not actually as bad as it is. It's just they're reporting all the violence. And so it's like it's creating more of that energy, and it's keeping people afraid. And sorry, I just saw another one. I kind of got something else. But I don't see anything like major. I do see a lot more not strikes. What do you call them? Protests. Thank you. I'm like, I don't know. I just saw like big protests happening. And I also see a big shifts in government. And I don't think that it's like to far right or anything, but it's like things can't keep running the way they are. Wait, what is this? There's official data confirming that came out of Israel too. Wait, what is that? What is that in comment to? Hang on. Curious minds want to know. Guys, don't delete your comments. What's the official data? Julia, what was the official data that you said? What's coming out of Israel? What was that response to? So women's rights will improve in America, but it still has to get a little bit worse, which sounds really terrible. But like, so in the South, they're now like shutting down in a lot of areas, women's health care parts of the hospital. Oh, okay. Yeah. So it needs a little bit more push on some of these political leaders, to have actually laws close to them to really fight more for it. 2024 is going to be important, but it's really 2028 is going to be like the big. And by worse, I just mean more, unfortunately, more women are going to have to die, which sounds terrible. And also, it's also going to be that's okay. The pressure from the insurance companies, because there's going to be all of these babies that are born with requiring extended medical care. Listen, a lot of the abortions that happen at late stage, right? So that can be in some places up to 24 weeks. are babies that are going to be born with severe medical needs, support systems, and or are unlikely to live past that point. So the push is going to come from Republican representatives who have lost family members and or nearly lost family members, and also from the healthcare system, like from the insurance companies who don't want to pay for these kids who now have like massive things. So it's going to get turned over and lobbied differently. I also feel expansion of the courts by 2028. So, and there's going to be a couple justices that are either stepping down, like retiring, and that feels in the next year. I don't know how old Alito is. But there's something about Alito. But I see him stepping up, like kind of that his name sticks out. So maybe he's retiring. I don't know. How old is he? He was born in 1950, so he might be retiring in the next year or so. Devry, no, I don't see that. I see actually more inclusion. So mental health epidemic. So my feeling with mental health is that it's going to get a little bit worse and then it's going to start to get better. So I feel like they're going to start making a lot more connections with metabolic and mineral and vitamin deficiencies connected to a lot of issues. Like they already kind of know it, but they don't treat it so much that way just because they can't make money on it. But by 2028 to 2030, our medical system is going to start being overhauled significantly because A, we can't sustain the way we are. And B, you've got all these younger generations kind of coming up and voting and changing things. So I do believe we are eventually going to move to a one payer healthcare system. So it's no longer going to be for profit. And so it's like really looking at quality of life and health based on a preventative versus just tamping down the symptoms. Oh, sorry. Inclusion on sports with transgender people. The reality is like they make such a big deal of it, but let's be honest. There aren't that many transgender people trying to get into sports at any level. Like percentage-wise, it can't be that much. I just really like it. It's mind-blowing. Not only that, like, yeah. This is what I'm gonna say. Like it's not. I actually feel like it's going to become more inclusive and like a non-issue, especially as boomers age out and Gen X ages out. It's not as many people as you think that like the younger generations are not as worried about it. I didn't see your North Korea question. Sorry. When do you see North Korea getting out of a stronghold? I don't. I also think so. There's something really interesting that I learned recently about propaganda and how we're fed a lot of propaganda about different countries and things like that. So um, I feel like they'll kind of remain communist. Yeah. Don't retract your messages. If you're bold enough to ask it, leave it there. Because if somebody comes back through, then I don't know. just be bold. The food items we currently have access to no longer have the amounts of nutrients we need. Do you see what kind of sources would be best, or which direction we will go with regard? So that, first of all, I do feel like they're going to have an overhaul of um, the food industry and what they're allowed to do to food. So like things won't be as stripped as nutrients anymore. So are broken down the same way. It's going to become actually healthier. So they're going to stop pulling fiber and stuff out of diets, and they're not going to be allowed to fortify anymore with synthetic vitamins and nutrition. So that will actually make a big difference, believe it or not. That is something that happens like slowly over time. Like I see differences by 2040, where we regulate more. There's also going to be more regulation on corporations, and corporations kind of not being allowed anymore. Like they're going to have to take a step back. There's going to be a lot of overhaul between now and 2050, which I know is a really, really long time. But you know what I just thought about the other day? As I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that Princess Diana has been gone so long. Like I can't believe 1997 is so long ago, because I went to school early, to moved into the campus early. I was in my dorm room when the news came out. Like, so it's just, to me, it flies. So what's terrible, like you said, will they find a cure for cancer? They already have cures for cancer. But keep in mind, things get shelved because people don't make money. And I know that sounds terrible, but that's what happens when you have for-profit organizations running everything. There will be more vaccines coming out too for cancer and things like that. But they already have like actually even better ways of treating cancer that are less lucrative, that they shelve, because again, it's not making people money. I mean, look at, what is it, the Sachs family, is that the name of it? Who really pushed opiates, and finally got called to task on it, but still, they're still billionaires. Sackler, maybe that's the name of them. They didn't care that they were killing people. They full well knew that they were causing addictions and killing people, and they didn't care. So some of these people that are at the top, they really don't actually care about people. They care about building their income. I don't know why you need so much money, to be honest with you. Like, that's great that you have that much, but like that's like, I have a tiny D and I need to drive a giant truck kind of behavior. It makes no sense. Do I see Elon Musk ever getting humbled? No. He's a narcissist. He's a terrible man. He's a narcissist. He'll never be humbled. You're not going to have to worry about my channel. Listen, it'll be okay. Sackler, that's it. Yeah. Okay. Is this the end of my pillow man? I haven't even heard him. See, okay, so I do not even bother with mainstream media anymore. I hate to say that. I mean, I peek at it here and there, but yeah, he's not going to do well. I do feel like he kind of gets caught up. I don't know that he goes to jail, but I do feel like he's paying financial penalties. Yeah, I don't, it's so funny. I haven't even heard that guy. And it's like, so I just don't pay attention to so much of it now, because it just, it's absurd when you like, not like, pull yourself out emotionally and just like look at these people. It's like, it's so absurd. It's so absurd, the lengths that they go to. And like, I think a lot of it is information people have on them, and just eating up all the bribery money. Oh, you actually liked it? You threw it away? Listen, you already paid for it. You should just keep it. Like, you didn't know when you bought it. You already paid for it. There's no shame in that. Rishi Sunak? What is that? Did Pierce Morgan get friend zoned by? Oh wait, Wait, huh? No, he went at her so hard in the media because he's one of these people who like wants to latch onto something and like seem relevant and just get views and likes and information. He doesn't really look at it like that. Oh, the UK Prime Minister. Yeah, like a month or so. It's not that far out. Clearly I live under a rock these days. I was talking to some parents, and they were like, "Oh, this place and this," like they were talking about stuff that was like around, and I was like, "Oh, clearly I live under a rock." Just like put the blinders on to people's energy, and it's just because it's easier to go through the world that way. And it's not that I'm naive or ignorant, like the stuff with Palestine. The minute I like heard about it, I started like looking at it, and I was like, oh, well, Israel's very different than I thought it was. And oh, this whole situation is way different than I thought it was. So, why are people going so hard on JK? Because she's a transphobic? No, no. That's not her opinion. She's awful. And I'm sorry, like, you don't get to, like, she's allowed to her opinion, but some opinions you keep to yourself. That's all. Like, you're allowed to those opinions, but if you have those opinions and you think that you can go out and share them with everybody, then you and not get called to task on it, then, too bad. Oh, you know? Um, and I'm sorry, like, I don't know why everybody has such an issue with people who are trans. They aren't hurting you. They're not doing anything to you. They're living their life. You're worried about if somebody's doing something to harm children. Well, look at the churches and look at the things that they've hidden even within all religions, because it's I've seen it in Judaism too, like it's all religions. And look at the coaches and I mean, Jesus Christ. It's not trans people. They're not doing anything to anybody. They're just trying to live their life. And there's actual biological changes that happen that makes them, it's not like they're like, "Oh, I just feel like it. Well, it's just a whim." Like I don't, like I like wearing tennis shoes every day. I just want to be trans. Like it's not that. It's not a clothing preference. It is an actual biological difference. And trans people are celebrated in other communities, in the Native American or indigenous people, they celebrate them. Just mind blowing that anybody even cares. It's like, why do you care if somebody's like, oh, the thing about celebrity when they're always like, they're secretly gay? Like, who gives a shit? Why do you care if they want to, like, oh, sorry. Just, oh, okay. And I know it's not you, but that's just the way I think whenever I think of that. It's like, there are so many other like things that we have to worry about in this world. Okay, so let me go back to this. Trump love affair with, or the love affair with Trump in New Hampshire. Um, it will, but I feel like there's going to be a couple more things that come out and are divulged along his like lawsuit things. And I don't know if New Jersey has filed against him yet, but I feel like when they come out, it'll be like so obvious they can't. Um, I mean, there's a lot of libertarians in New Hampshire, and a lot of it is just because the laws are so like no government kind of thing like that. Um, so wait, do I think she's been so outspoken because she's had bad experiences herself? Wait, who is that? Who's she? J.K. Rowling? Um, I don't think that she's had such I mean, look, we've all had awful experiences or whatever. I just think, social media has been great for the rest of us because we get to see people for who they are and see, um, things that are going on in the world. It's not so good for people who, don't have a very good PR team. And while she has a good like, nobody really took a handle on her and said like, "Hey, she doesn't have a great let me here, sorry. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. She doesn't have a great she doesn't have someone handling her social media, which and she doesn't have a great filter. Like I feel like people have known this is who she is, like people who work with her and are close to her. And unfortunately, she's been social media. Um, I just think people have belief systems, and hers are quite limited in her ability to accept, love, and accept people. Right? Everything's out there, no filter, and I mean, there's a lot of people, even people who are successful, that aren't very good people. There's a lot of thin lace stuff, veiled stuff in her books. I haven't read them in so long, but I'm going to read them because my daughters want to read them. But yeah, I mean, um, here's the thing. I often think when people are so like afraid of something like that and they're like, it's bad, sinner, whatever. I think there's something they worry about within themselves. That's what I think. Um, so Tiffany Haddish fall further. Um, I don't think she's depressed. I think she has a alcohol issue. And I also think that she's arrogant enough to think like, to be very reckless about it. I mean, she's had 2 DUIs, like one I saw that like she had, and then she just got another one when she's like in court for this one. And it's like, how arrogant are you not to just go like, "Hey, I should Uber." And there's no reason you can't. I've been in LA once, twice, but the last time was by myself and I Ubered everywhere. There's no excuse to get behind the wheel, especially in a town that's that big with that opportunity to have somebody drive you around. There's just no excuse. So the only thing I have is like it's a feeling of being very arrogant, um, and having an alcohol problem. I mean, if she's working an event, she can put that in her contract. Provide me with a driver. So it's not about a downfall. It's just like I think she'll come back. Um, because look at how many people are like, yeah, I had a drug and alcohol problem when I came back. Lots and lots of people. Um, I think she'll come back, but it's just she's got issues right now that she's sort of refusing to look at and really deal with. Um, oh, I'm gonna, when I reread these with my kids, though I won't tell them, I'm gonna look at that again. But that makes sense because the goblins, right, with the trope of Jewish people in banking, the goblins are the banks. So it would make sense that that would be there. Um, I have a castle. Wait, I have a castle 30 miles where, oh, all the Harry Potter was filmed, and I've not read her books. Oh, you know what? I read them when I was in college. I went to visit my grandmother, and this was before 9/11. So you were able to like your family was able to um, be with you at the gate and wait with you. And my grandmother walked me to the gate, and like the little bookstores where she's like, "You have to read this book." She picked it up. So I was probably like 20. She's like, "You have to read this book." and she bought it for me and she signed the inside of it. And so that's how I got into Harry Potter, because my grandma. Jeezy and Jeannie May. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't get so caught up in everybody's relationship. That's why I think that's why I never is, because I'm always like, because people just like when they don't work out, it's because people haven't dealt with their own shit within them. So, as successful as she is, she's really insecure. And I also feel like he's a bit misogynistic. And so I just feel like that's, it just didn't work. I also feel like she's a bit of like in a fantasy about the way things should be, instead of like really the like meaning, oh, it should be this way and it's not that way. And not that he can't be perfect, but like it won't match up for her until she sort of like resolves some of her own stuff. No, Destiny's Child won't make another album. Beyonce doesn't need that. Okay, 2 more questions and then I'm gonna go. Blue Ivy will, but I actually feel like she's gonna go more into like producing. I think over time, okay. So I think Blue Ivy will end up coming out, and that's going to be a real like kind of awakening for her mom. Good night, sweet dreams. Okay, so Britney Spears, any insight on her? I still think she has a ways to go to be free, because she's not just yet. She does have a lot more time in court to kind of settle that out. A lot of the chaos that she experiences is just symptoms of mass amounts of trauma. And a lot of like the eccentricities, like people are like, oh, that's so weird. It's like oh, the way she's dancing. I'm like, look at how she was taught to dance. Like all of her videos and stuff, she's not dancing any differently from what was in her videos. It's just that you don't see people doing that a lot. And it seems so natural, or like where she's like, oh, doesn't have a lot of clothes on, or she's doing like, she's just very eccentric because she was raised as a performer. Like she didn't have a normal upbringing. So what seems like totally abnormal to us was her normal. And also she's just sort of like a little bit going off the deep end a little bit for her, but not in a bad way, but just like the way you or I would have when we were in college or in our early 20s. She just is just trying to enjoy life. Why is okay? I want to do the money one. I'm gonna just answer the other one. Do you see Brad Pitt getting back to his kids? No. Neither she nor he are healthy individuals. Neither she nor he are healthy. So let's reframe that. I do think she's in their head a little bit. I don't know that they will, because, it's also his own behaviors and his own choices and relationships that they've made with him. I do feel like there's some contact, but not for all of them. Some will be completely estranged forever. The older two, for sure. The ones that she adopted. And I do see, I see some connection between his biological children, but I don't ever feel like a great warmth or deep connection with them. Um, just because we see somebody as a certain way in the public eye does not mean that's who they really are. Um, like I said about Shirley MacLaine earlier, I was like, oh, it turns out she was a horrible mother. So just because somebody's really good at acting doesn't mean they're really good at parenting. Think about your own family members who are really talented or really good in their field, and they just kind of suck otherwise. So like acting is their job, and part of their job is promoting and like putting on a face. KK. So why is money a lower frequency? Okay. I don't I'm going to answer it like in a different kind of way. So I don't think money technically is a lower frequency. So money is an exchange of energy, and energy usually comes from that exchange is usually coming from a place of stability, a place of like our lower root chakras, right? So that's why we think of it as being a lower energy, but technically it's not. It is just energy. Um, it is that it gets a bad rap and so many negative things can do it. That's where it can carry us. It feels like it carries a little bit lower of an energy, right? But that's a belief system that we put within it. But if you look at money for what it is, it's just money. It's just energy exchange. So like, do you look at money as being a lower energy when you're donating it or doing good with it, when you're helping others? No. But on a whole, like when you have that flip side of it, like all of my money is going to the war industrial complex, the military industrial complex to fund wars, well, that can hold a lower vibration because of what it's being used for. And I never looked at it that way before, but thanks. Yeah. So it's like it holds neither good or bad. It's the way in which the energy is used or exchanged that creates the issue. Like I don't even necessarily think it's lower energy to use it if someone's doing alternative work, like for pleasure, uh, unless the energy behind it is set in such a way to make it a lower energy. It's all the guilt that many of us are conditioned, right? But that's a belief system. That's not what it is. And not all wealthy people are terrible people, right? Bye, Starry Sky. So not all wealthy people are terrible people. Um, it's just like saying like, yeah, many people that are wealthy are terrible, but many people that are poor are terrible. Many people that are middle class are terrible. There just are. And I bet if you looked at percentage wise, I think that I don't even necessarily think maybe I wouldn't even say necessarily they're necessarily terrible. It is just they're completely out of touch in many instances of like what other people go through and the struggle that they have. And I think the responsibility is then if you have this desire to be wealthy or have more money, right? I don't need to be super wealthy, but gosh, like just paying for things easily, and knowing that like you don't have to worry about your bills and like you still have to be able to do extra and have fun, right? That's really all many of us really want and or need. Um, if you make that promise to yourself as you're manifesting whatever it is you're manifesting, that I will also still remain aware. Like that's all. But I think just so many of them are out of touch. I mean, I have friends that are very wealthy and I just think like, and sometimes they say things that I don't call them on it, but I was just think, oh, they don't like, that's just not in their wheelhouse. And they're really good-hearted, wonderful people, but it's not always in their wheelhouse. And sometimes they're really good and it is in their wheelhouse, but it's like, um, it's that feeling of where they can't do enough kind of thing. I don't know any other way to say it. Or they're doing what they can. But also, like, just because you're wealthy doesn't mean you should totally be broke just to help everybody else, right? There's a balance. But also it's not that they're not aware of the price of things, but some people are so rich, and especially if they've always been, they're aware of the price, but $10,000 is to nothing to them. It's like $1 to us, right? 50 cents to us. It's like no big deal. And some of those people, it's not even that. So it just doesn't register. We should just have more exchange programs where really wealthy people have to go and work actual real jobs and, like, take the bus around and stuff like that. And then maybe they might have like a little bit of a reference of like, oh, or have to deal with the healthcare system, like fighting the insurance companies. So, okay. All right. Maybe we'll make this a thing where I just answer kind of questions here if I get through the ones, and then we'll do stuff like this. I will see you guys next week. Enjoy your week. Be good to yourselves. Have a good one.